Hey guys, remember to like the video and hit subscribe.
This weird like condescension of like, oh, we need to take care of our minorities because they are like, they've been enslaved and fucked over by society for so long. Okay. I think that the majority of like conservatives are somewhere in here. I think that the majority of like far left media is somewhere in here between these two. And I wish that we could like aim for somewhere in here. And I think it would solve a lot of our problems when it comes to like messaging. So what does this mean? It means that I legitimately and genuinely believe, this is epitomized in ContraPoints talking, that when ContraPoints, I just want to play this. I should just have this clip ready. Does anybody have ContraPoints talking about trans spaces or whatever? Was it in here? What's an example of feels nice and sounds mean? An example of feels nice and sounds mean is when you got a friend who like banters with you, but he like clearly knows where the line is. And when you need him to like step up to like recognize some shit, he will always do that, you know? So like feels nice and sounds mean, I think is some shit where you go out, well, using the wheelchair example, right? Like you go out drinking with friends or some shit and chill. I don't know. Think of like a wheelchair ramp joke. You make a joke, it's otherizing, you're pointing out the fact that he's in a wheelchair, whatever. And it's like me, but like you guys, you're not crushing the line, you don't. But like when you leave the bar at the end of the night and your friends are all taken off, you're like, hold on, I'm gonna help like Jim like get his car or whatever. Like regardless of like however you joke with him, like at the end of the day you have his back. And that's, there's no question about that. There's never, I don't know how to express it, but there's never a question in your mind where it's like, is this guy like actually like a piece of shit? No, it's like, absolutely not. Like this guy will always be there for me. 100%. You don't have to think about it, you know? I guess you can compare it to, I mean, obviously, maybe everybody thinks they're in the middle. I don't know. I mean, I would say I'm in the middle. I would hope, I guess. But like, so like I would joke with Dan all the time about Jew shit or whatever. But at the end of the day, I don't think Dan would ever think I would legitimately be after him on some Jew shit ever. I don't think that would ever happen. But I think that the issue is that progressives will progressives label everything to the left of one. Why can't I see my mouse? Oh, because it's turning this. They'll label everything to the left of one as like 4 or 5, which is obnoxious as. So if you make any jokes or if you're problematic, they'll say that you're basically a white supremacist, which is bullshit. And then you end up in this world where I genuinely do believe that minorities prefer to deal with people who are at like even 4 than people who are at 1. You'd rather a guy that's just kind of like a piece of joke and makes like a piece of there's like a guy who's like a piece of shit and he makes jokes about you all the time or whatever, but he treats you as a real human being. He's just like down on you on this like whatever minority status. But I think you'd almost rather deal with that guy than the people who are like ultra soy, who are like the condescending, crazy, like, oh my God, like we have to be sensitive to all of your whatever. I think that that's like it's the vibe that I get. Maybe not for everybody, but I feel like there's a decent chunk of people that have that feeling. Hold on one second. Is it this one?
Hundreds of hours making. Anyway, let's look at the tweet. This is the most scrutinized paragraph I've ever written, and it's so mediocre. This has happened to me before in hyper-woke spaces. Like it's me and a bunch of cis women, and we all have to go in a circle saying she, her because I'm there. There's this paradox where I can go to a sports bar in North Carolina and be Miss Ma'amed all night, no question. But in self-consciously trans-inclusive spaces, I have to explain my pronouns and watch woke people awkwardly correct themselves every time they say, you guys. I guess it's good for people who use they, them only and want only gender-neutral language. But it comes at the minor expense of semi-passable transes like me, and that's super hard for us. So people interpreted this tweet as me being against the practice of sharing pronouns, which I'm literally just not. Like, I've actually been the person who initiates the pronoun circle many times. The backstory of this tweet is basically that I once got triggered in a situation where I was with a bunch of cis women and we all had to go around saying our pronouns, and like a typical triggered tranny, I tiptoed over to Twitter to type it out. But here's the thing, by the end of this thread I had already talked myself away from the initial frustration I was expressing. If you know my videos and my voice, then you know me saying it comes at the minor expense of semi-passable transes, and that's super hard for us, is sarcastic. It's a minor expense. It's not actually very hard for us, Gorge. It's fine. But people on Twitter don't watch my videos and they don't get sarcasm. So People flipped out over this. I was getting dragged, and I made the poor decision to try to solve the tweet problem with more tweeting, which 100
I think there's a degree of truth to this. I think I spoke about this the other day where I spoke about how because progressives try so hard to tiptoe around and be nice and compassionate and understanding of everybody except for white people or guys, you end up in this weird world where conservatives are like, okay, well, listen, black people, minorities, and trans people, we're just going to do like general messaging. I feel like you can almost accidentally end up in a better place as a conservative to do messaging to people because it doesn't feel like there's constant pandering. And it's like, okay, like, bro, when I was reading, and again, I know that this is what I'm about to reference now is very online shit, but like, holy fuck. When I was reading that math book that got published where it was like black children can learn math better if they're running around outside. I'm like, what? Really? Is this really where we're at? Or that keeping a schedule, that's like a white man's concept? That's like Western imperialism? Really? So we're actually doing the CPT? That's a real thing now? Colored people time is a real thing now that we're putting in our education system? Get the out of here. Like, I don't know. That shit is just like insanely, like unbelievably cringe to me. But Destiny, I think the problem is the asymmetry. Type 1 people have convinced left-wing politicians and media people to speak in a Type 1 way. Type 5 conservatives, however, are smarter than that and have made sure the public-facing conservatives only say Type 4 stuff out loud, which means the public can't tell that a lot of them behind the scenes are truly Type 5. Yeah, I mean, like, maybe. But, like, another issue, too, is that somebody said in YouTube chat, Destiny, you're ignoring how Trump paraded blacks for Trump. Okay, at the risk of being super white and getting this very wrong, because this is all vibed out, but like this is the feeling I have. If you were to take an average far-right black guy and throw him into, on TV and have people watch him for a little bit, that person probably more closely resembles an average black guy. He might be more conservative in some views or whatever than a far left black guy who's like a weird college kid who's on some like crazy Black Panther, I don't even want to say like new black, like just on some crazy anti-Western imperialism. Like that person is going to be less resembling of the black community than a far right black person. Same thing with Latinos or any other minority. I feel like the far left representations of these are they're just different colored white people. I'm sorry, that sounds so bad, but that's what it feels like. It's like, oh, okay, well, we're printing the Western imperialism, Western cultural dominance people, and we're just printing them in different colors, and here we go. And then meanwhile, the right's like, yeah, we're racist, so black people and Latinos sometimes. And trust me, if you're looking for a guy to hate a black person, no better black person to hate a black person, or no better person to hate a black person than another black person. Same thing with Latinos, same thing with white people too, bro. Everybody hates everybody. And the people that hate the most sometimes are the people of your own skin color because they know you the most because you're your closest. Bigotry, small differences, Yeah, I don't know. This could be just a vibed out take. Like, it could be that in general it's not as true, but one of the feelings I get, one of the benefits that I get when I interact with people across the political spectrum, when I deal with people on the left, sometimes I get this feeling when I'm in groups that everybody's like a little bit on guard. And then I'll drop like, a casual N-word. No, I'm just kidding. I'll drop an R-bomb. I'll call somebody, this is retarded. Or I'll tell somebody to kill themselves. And then for some reason, it feels like there's a collective tension that's broken a little bit. So you're like, okay, all right, this is a safe space. We're cool here, okay? We're not all going to become like evil, hateful, racist, but we're cool. We're chill. It's okay, I don't know. I feel like I get that feeling a lot when I'm in left-leaning groups in real life. There could be other dynamics in play that I'm not aware of. Like maybe just because I'm a streamer, people look to me more, or famous, wealthy, handsome, charismatic, But no. But yeah, I don't know. I wish that people just need to chill. People just need to calm down a little bit. You're literally describing the Atlanta episode where the white lesbian moms adopted black kids. Jesus Christ. This is unironically why Jesse Lee Peterson is so popular. Also, did you watch, Sasha, you're going to watch JLP talking with Adam Freeland? It was a pretty cute combo. No, I haven't, and I probably won't. This is why I genuinely think Asmongold's feedback loop with audience is because he hates that feeling and doesn't have to worry with a right-wing audience. It's all cultural stuff for him. His values besides immigration are left-wing, but this left vibe killer actually matters to many people at Destiny. Yeah, I think it's a big deal. Destiny, critique the left, but the right is so fine for black people, XD. I don't think I said that, but okay. But another issue too is that like when I'm talking about these left people that control the culture that aren't Democrats, or at least that are like more culturally popular, but aren't really Democrats, is those people don't do anything for black people either. Like, make no mistake, the Marxist socialists, those types of people have only hurt black people in this country, at least recently. You might have been able to make a stronger argument for like when the real Black Panthers existed, or in the MLK Malcolm X in like your 50s and 60s, where maybe some of the socialist black movements were a little bit more something that I don't know enough history to say. White people, it feels like white people are very good at co-opting black shit. I feel like a lot of that socialist shit got, like, for whatever black socialist movements there would have been prior to the Civil Rights Act and all that, it feels like they just got taken over by cringy white people. I don't know. But happened with jazz too. What are you going to do? I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm not kidding about that. But at Destiny, can't people just be correct and funny rather than memes always being some ignorant shit? Well, like, I don't know how to say this, but I feel like this is one of the reasons why humor is such an attractive feature to people. Whether it's, you know, guys and girls trying to attract a partner, or whether people like funny people, is because I feel like humor is a way to illustrate, like, in order to make a joke about something, humor is like defying conventions, because you're laughing at something by doing something unexpected, kind of the very broadest sense. But in order to break a convention, you have to understand the convention, and then you have to understand how to break it. So there's a lot of social awareness that's shown from somebody who's able to be funny. It's a skill that requires a lot of social awareness. So there's a way to be funny. And that's why I never tell people like, oh, you should all go and be more racist or whatever. But there's a way to do this where you can make jokes, but it's just so much sometimes. I don't know how to explain this. I don't know. Maybe it's possible I've like gone over the line in the past, but like generally when I'm joking with girls, when I'm joking with minorities, like I'll make jokes. Maybe sometimes I'm over the line, but not generally. The overwhelming amount of time, like, I'm in the safe space, but I can still like be edgy, but in a safe space, or like not like a safe space of formal, but like I'm in a safe zone where it's like, this guy's not actually racist, is he? But sometimes when people are like, oh, we should just make more racist jokes, like, you have to be aware of when somebody's just like beating down on a person. But I don't know how to put that into words. Like, I don't know. There are times when I'm hanging out with people and it's like very obvious, like, this guy probably doesn't like it when you guys keep joking about this over and over and over again. Like, I can tell that this guy's like not comfortable. Like, you should joke about something different. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to. I kind of disagree. A charismatic person talking to their in-group isn't making edgy jokes. They are flowing with the vibe. Well, sure. I mean, it depends on... No, I actually 1 trillion percent... I 1 trillion percent agree with you. I'm trying to think of if that would change everything I just said. Because that's true. Because when I make edgy jokes, it's not the same way as conservatives making edgy jokes. Most conservatives, I don't think, are making edgy jokes anymore. Like, when the reason why a joke that I make is edgy is because the joke seems to point in the opposite direction of what my actual political beliefs are. So if I'm making, like when I said like, oh, how do I break the ice with the N-word, right? Obviously I don't do that, but that's like a joke that points in the opposite of my political directions. But it feels like most of the jokes that I hear from conservative spaces don't actually point in the other direction. They just reinforce the norm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. It's just false what you said about black people being more accepting of 4. Most black people are center left. They would cringe at 1, but they would stay away from 4. I think you're probably right. That's probably my bias as being like a really straight presenting white person. I think that 4s are where you find a lot of your token figures. I have found these people before. I knew black people in high school that did this, probably because it was an overwhelmingly white environment. And I knew a couple of gay guys, one that was a supervisor at my carpet cleaning place that did this, where these people are the first ones to make the racial jokes or the homophobic jokes. But that's because it might be because they're just trying to win. They're being the uncle, whatever, of they're being the token of their group because they're trying to win favor maybe of the other group, which is sad, I think. But what if a conservative would make an edgy joke about Trump tards? I don't think conservatives would accept it. Destiny, maybe it's just funny to them. You're doing the condescending thing. It's not a... No, I don't think so. And I don't think I'm doing the condescending thing. I think that if you're in a predominantly... The only reason why I say that is because I feel like those groups actually were homophobic and might have been a little bit racist. So I don't think that it's... Maybe not in high school, but the guy that I knew at my carpet cleaning place, I'm pretty sure most of my coworkers were at least a little bit homophobic. So for the gay guy to be making constant homophobic jokes feels like a group buy-in thing rather than like genuinely funny jokes. At Destiny, calling out hypocritical behavior in a cheeky way is kind of the humor that is effective, no? Sure, it can be, yeah. Yeah, not being super soy about it. Yeah. Check out the R word report on Boner Box and the H3 sub. R word, like, because he says retard, or I don't know what that means. Was the supervisor closeted gay? No, he was like gay, like gay presenting, like talked gay. However, whatever the gay accent is, he was like all on that. Are edgy jokes really always pointing in the opposite direction of your apparent beliefs, or maybe that's just good edgy jokes? Well, I feel like for a joke to be edgy, the joke has to be traveling. It doesn't have to end, but it has to travel outside of your comfortable stated political beliefs. Otherwise, it's not edgy. Or if you want to call it edgy, I would call it quote unquote safe edgy. So like this is one of the complaints I've had before. So there's a lot of people market themselves as edgy, but they're actually safe edgy. So like Hassan was an example of this. The like America deserved 9/11. That's not an edgy comment because his whole community loves that. It's a safe edgy comment. It seems edgy, but in reality, it's totally in line with his group. So like when I make jokes about like when I Luigi post, which I'm going to talk about in a second because we can't do that on the server anymore. But when I Luigi post about like Elon or Trump or whatever, I might even say edgy colloquially, but that's really safe edgy. Like there's nothing like everybody in my community is like, oh hell yeah, that's whatever, right? This is like safe edgy. I'm not like really, there's no edge there in my community. Everybody hates these people. What do you think about actors with dwarfism taking roles that just make fun of their condition? It's hard to parse out if they're able to truly just laugh off their condition. I don't know. That's a really hard one. I'm glad for people with dwarfism like that, like for Game of Thrones and everything. I thought that was a nice role because it was super serious, acted really well. Although I think some people don't like Peter Dinklage. Supposedly he made it harder for other dwarves to get jobs or something. I don't know. I read somewhere that people don't like him. I thought the gun diagram that Hassan posted was pretty edgy. Not in his community though. All of his community would laugh and joke about like killing capitalists. I mean, it might be edgy and then he might like get banned for it, but it's not something where your audience could be like, oof, that was a oof, you know, I don't know. Or I mean, if you want to call it all edgy, you can, but there has to be some way to differentiate between like, so like, here's a question. Would Hassan ever make a joke about like a socialist, something having to do with, I guess like wealth or whatever? Like I went to my socialist car dealership the other day because I wanted to trade in my Porsche for a super expensive, like a Lambo or something. I don't know. Like that would be kind of like more edgy because he's kind of like poking fun at himself, you know? Destiny from DFW. All my friends and family are MAGA, and I found that highlighting my not soy characteristics and then subtly showing them how whiny Trump is pretty effective. Soy is poison. Soy is poison. But yeah, I don't know. Why is Trump talking about DEI, doing the number one appealing to whites? Doesn't sound soy as fuck. Because people aren't opposed to DEI. They just don't like DEI for other races. DEI for whites is the best. That's people that don't like DEI want DEI. They just want it for white people. Would you say type 1 people are more hateful towards type 2.5 people than type 5 to type 2.5? Wait, what? Type 1 people are more hateful towards 2.5 people than type 5 is to type 2.5 people. Oh, maybe, but I think people might always, maybe, but I think on the left it's because you don't criticize people all the way on the 5 because you already know they're bad, right? Like if Trump says something racist, nobody's going to call him out on it because it's Trump. He's supposed to be racist. But I think that if somebody's closer to you, then people are more likely to do it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's unreasonable to focus on jokes about outgroups. Why would you want to alienate someone in your friend group when you could not alienate some other group? Yeah, maybe. I'm just saying that these are just like things you have to be aware of. Like if you actually go outside and talk to people who are not white, like minority groups can have like insanely racist humor and sometimes are just insanely racist towards other minorities. Like in today's America, if you're not in the deep South and you want to kill some blacks, you're not looking for other white people. Yeah, you're going to grab some Latino workers and you're going to, I'm like 40% joking there. But I'm just saying that like, and I'm not trying to condemn different racial groups. I'm just saying like racism is just a little bit more dynamic in the US than just like white bad, minority good, and then everything else, you know, we'll figure it out. Like, but just remember that paradigm. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's really stupid. Trump is blaming DEI to gut and stuff the government with loyals. His people like it for the reason you said. Oh, sure, maybe. Do you remember the Annalisa discourse and how blacks are racist towards mixed people? I think everybody is kind of racist towards mixed people. It's not even necessarily racist. It's just like they feel like they make them feel not belonging, which I guess can be expressed with racism and everything. Yeah, I don't know. The greatest irony is that this was the point of intersectionality, that racism could transcend racial barriers, but that all got lost in the sauce because white college kids were too white to understand it. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. You know Zach from Jerry Riggs Everything? He's been quite vocal about his politics on X. I feel like I saw his stuff and I thought he would have been like a crazy Trumper, libertarian or something. But then I saw his stuff on Twitter or something. I was like, oh, wait, he's not crazy. I thought, right? For Dre Rig everything. I feel like we went through this. Destiny, are you principally pro or anti-DEI, or do you just not care that much? I think that like DEI can be like really cool, or affirmative action can be really cool. It just depends on like how you do it. This is why I don't like it when people have a blanket like yes or no to a thing, because I feel like there are ways that it could be cool and ways that it could be not cool. If you're at a company and all of your employers are white and you're like, fuck, bro, we need to like mix this place the fuck up. Like let's send some recruiters to predominantly Hispanic and African American schools, or even like start a program there to like, you know, maybe sponsor like computer science classes for kids that are 17, 18 and like predominantly Hispanic or African American. I think stuff like that is great. I think it's fine. Yeah. Have more color in your workplace, like inspire other people of different races that might traditionally not gravitate towards some type of work to gravitate towards that work if they want to, give them the opportunity to. I think that's fine. But whenever somebody says DEI or affirmative action, the only thing people think of like, oh my God, there's a white guy who was qualified and they put in a black guy instead. And then like, it's like, that's retarded. And I don't necessarily think people should be doing that. That's stupid. We don't want worse workers or worse, like less qualified people. That's obviously stupid. That's obviously dumb. Anybody that defends that is a retard. But like 90% of people probably wouldn't. I don't think would defend that. It would just be crazies on Twitter. Why wouldn't you just do socioeconomic factors? The poorest communities are of color, because if you're a poor white person, are you getting fucked if they do otherwise? If you, okay, at the risk of sounding soy, but I don't give a fuck. This will be the only soy thing I say, okay? One of the things that I implore you to do, it's taking me so long. Well, I'm lucky because I'm a streamer, so I get a whole bunch of different perspectives, okay? But if you're a white man and you live in the United States of America, generally speaking, you have no idea what it means to not belong in a place or not have some opportunity open to you. There's just never been a time where it's like, I really want to do this job, but this isn't for white people. Like even Eminem made rapping, you know, a path for us. It's just like a feeling you don't ever have. So if you're of a different minority and your class of people doesn't typically do a job, sometimes just having a couple people that look like you, that are prominent faces there, that it helps. It's like it inspires people to go out and do things that maybe they feel like otherwise just wouldn't be for them. Like there's like, fuck, like this is like black people don't program computers or do science or whatever. But then you get people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, like, oh, this is a black dude, and he's like speaks about this shit. Or here's like prominent people like, or same thing for women, you know, seeing women doing jobs that are like heavy science, technology, engineering, math, or whatever. It's like, oh, okay, maybe, you know, it's just good to have like seeing those types of people do things is inspiring for people. It helps, I think. So wouldn't meritocracy truly also result in that? Not necessarily, because like you might have an aptitude for something, but you might not go for it if you think that you don't have like a path forward to go in that direction, if that makes sense. Like, if you, like there might be somebody who has an aptitude for a particular skill set, but they don't see anybody that looks like them doing it, so they don't pursue it, right? That's just one of the things you want to avoid as much as possible, ideally, at least in a society where we're allocating people efficiently and all that. There needs to be more rising tide lifts all ships rhetoric when it comes to DEI adjacent stuff, and less demonization of white people or men, with keeping in mind that the rising tide likely needs to lift some ships more forcefully than others. Yeah, this is what I say all the time. Like, same thing with like when people talk about taxes and stuff, like, what do we need to tax for? It's like to fund our social programs. Like, should there be billionaires? Oh, sure. If somebody gets enough money, enough assets, like the like criminalization of billionaires or the demonization of wealth, or like successful businesses are the backbone of the United States. And I'm sorry not to be a meanie, but no, I'm not talking about small businesses. I'm talking about our mega corporations and our big businesses. Some of these things are the most important things that we've had in the United States of America. I know that the comment talking about is small businesses or blah, blah, blah. Nobody talks about the small business in the United States. They talk about people like Henry Ford, okay? Or they talk about huge government projects like the Manhattan Project or NASA. Or they talk about successful private huge businesses like Tesla or SpaceX or Amazon or Facebook. Like these are some of the most important structures, pillars in the United States. And to demonize them and to shit on all the people involved in them, I think it's stupid. It misses the point. It's like, okay, well, meritocracy is also considered in the studies cited by conservatives when they talk about the Harvard study. The rubric for applicants shows races score very similarly academically. Okay, maybe. Are you in favor of anti-racism trainings? Every time I ever see somebody say they're anti-racist, or when people are talking about anti-racism, that's usually a dog whistle for the most soy shit ever. As soon as somebody says something about like anti-racism, I'm basically waiting for them to tell me about how like I'm a colonizer, and I like that anti-racism shit is omega cringe to me. Wait, hold on one second. You talk about your retarded take, how not like us is dog. Oh, I don't know. I tried to listen to the song because I was bored. And I was like, oh, let's pop in some popular music and see what the kids are listening to, and that Not Like Us song is dog shit. What the f? I don't know. Okay, hold on. About billionaires, what do you think about taxing billionaires more? Do you think that we could tax billionaires more, and if so, why? Yeah, you can probably bump up the top tax brackets by a couple points. I think there's stuff you can do there for sure. But not because we have to eliminate billionaires or because every billionaire is an unethical sociopath, but just because you can, I don't know, collect more tax revenue. Balance out your government budget better. Did you listen to Family Matters from Drake? No, I have not. Opinions on a wealth tax? Wealth tax is stupid. Don't ever do it. Rough estimate on how much the taxes on billionaires should be 50 plus. 50 plus. Damn. What's the top federal tax bracket? Isn't it under 40%? 37%? Why the fuck would it be 50%? That's wild, dog. Okay, hold on. I'm reading this for the subreddit from my head moderator. A message from Hobbit follower. Reddit has been cracking down on content related to Elon Musk, including threats of violence disguised as Luigi posting, or hypothetical scenarios involving uprisings or violent retaliation to changes in the US. Any jokes or comments resembling this type of content will not be tolerated in this subreddit. That's ours. Additionally, posting names, photos, or any identifying information about individuals, especially with allusions to violence or finding them, is strictly prohibited. This kind of behavior is a direct violation of Reddit's terms of service and will result in immediate action, including bans. For context, r/whitepeople Twitter was banned today for 72 hours for violating Reddit's policies after weeks of similar posts. Please refrain from making statements that could be interpreted as incitement, threats, or Fed posting. These are not acceptable, and any attempts to be subtle about it won't work. We will pin a clip of Destiny addressing this on stream. After that, oh, that's me. Temporary bans will be issued as necessary to demonstrate our commitment to Reddit's rules and policies. Someone donated 20 bucks and says, isn't the fact that the current core of the fascist push in our government is being spearheaded by Musk and seemingly backed by the other tech billionaires a sign that allowing people to amass that level of power is bad? You can't prevent people from getting rich in the United States. That's not our issue. And taxes shouldn't be the way that we control people from taking over the government.